Have you ever found yourself quietly cheering for the villain in a movie? It turns out, researchers have found that rooting for the bad guy is a common and deeply human response. It's a psychological puzzle that says a lot about how our minds actually work. In our daily lives, we spend a lot of energy following rules and trying to be helpful to others. It's exhausting. So when we watch a villain ignore every social boundary without a second thought, our brains experience a sudden, thrilling sense of total freedom. Some psychologists compare fiction to a flight simulator for the mind. Just like a pilot practices in a safe environment, stories allow us to experience dangerous situations and intense emotions from the safety of our own homes. Enjoying a villain's performance doesn't mean you have a secret dark side. Instead, it means you're using the story as a safe place to let your mind wander and explore the kinds of rebellious feelings we usually have to keep hidden. Normally, if we encounter someone cruel in real life, our brains immediately put up a defensive wall. But because we know a movie isn't real, that wall drops. We feel safe enough to actually find things in common with a character we'd usually find repulsive. The famous thinker Carl Jung called this the shadow self. It's the part of our personality that holds all the impulses and desires we've had to push down to fit into society. When we see a villain on screen, we're projecting those hidden parts of ourselves onto them. This creates what's called the confidence paradox. Your conscious mind knows their crimes are wrong, but your unconscious mind is drawn to their absolute self-assurance. They never ask for permission, and they never have to apologize to anyone. In a way, these characters act as a pressure valve for the modern mind. They give us a guilt-free way to imagine what it would be like to have total independence, far away from the heavy burden of everyday expectations. This diagram shows the network in our brain handling right and wrong. These connections keep us helpful. This section, the vmPFC, acts like your moral steering wheel, generating empathy and guilt to keep our behavior within the lines. Then there's the amygdala, a built-in alarm bell triggering a stress response when we see broken social rules. Finally, dopamine. It fires during a prediction error, a sudden pattern of surprise, telling the brain to pay attention. A villain with a lot of charm is incredibly unpredictable. They might be warm one moment and cruel the next. That constant back and forth triggers a massive spike in dopamine, because your brain can't figure out what's coming next. Our attraction to these characters is actually a biological reaction. That sudden rush of interest can be so intense that it briefly overrides our usual sense of moral judgment. We stay engaged because our brains are smart enough to recognize the safety container of the screen. Your heart might be racing, but your logic center knows you're just in the theater seat. This turns what would be real terror into a high-energy, pleasurable experience. This distance allows for identity play. It gives you a chance to mentally test drive a more ruthless or manipulative persona, letting you explore those feelings without ever having to face a single real-world consequence. This actually sharpens your ability to predict what others are thinking. By following a villain's schemes, you're training your mind to recognize the subtle signs of a lie or a manipulative plot. Spending time with these stories helps build the emotional resilience we need to spot real-world predators. It's how we practice seeing through the tricks of people who might try to take advantage of us in reality. This meter shows our self-control in a high-stress workplace. Making ethical choices all day drains that battery dry. When we're exhausted, we become lenient toward bad behavior, simply too tired to resist someone acting unfairly. This is why some managers actually choose to hire people who lack empathy. They want a real-life villain who can handle unpopular tasks, like firing people, without feeling the guilt a normal employee would. While this might seem efficient at first, it usually backfires. These manipulative hires eventually turn those same tactics against the company itself, creating a workplace filled with distrust. It's a strange trade-off. We love the idea of the villain's freedom in a movie, but in real life, we often let them take control because we're simply too worn out to enforce the rules. As we move into the next few years, the way we interact with these villain traits is shifting. New AI systems are beginning to create digital characters that can change their behavior based on how you react to them. By looking at your data, An AI can figure out the specific timing of when to be friendly and when to be distant. It's using the same unpredictability trick we see in movies to grab our attention and trigger those dopamine responses. Scammers are now using these same tactics to trick people. By mimicking a confident or charming authority figure, they can use our natural curiosity and our biology to bypass our usual caution. Learning how our brains react to these patterns gives us a chance to pause. When we understand the biology behind this charm, we're better prepared to spot those same manipulative tricks when they show up in our digital lives. If you have any questions about the psychology or the science we covered today, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your suggestions for new topics, and don't forget to subscribe to SM Says Psych for more.